Well, hello everyone. This is Fadi, and I want to welcome you back to a continuation of our video series on some of the mistakes that we are trying to spotlight for you when it comes to translating passages or words in the Quran into English. And those are mistakes that I would argue are intentional, and they are oftentimes influenced by the standard Islamic narrative. We have a guest speaker here with us who has been walking us through a journey of those examples. And we're talking, of course, about Saint Murad. And he took these mistakes or these errors, if you wish, and put them into different categories. So far, we've covered at least two categories. And last time we started it to cover the third category, which is the translations that are based on the standard Islamic narrative. He gave examples of, for instance, the word Mecca, that sometimes it's not even there in Arabic, but yet it is inserted in the English translation. Today, we are going to continue along the same category. Saint Murad, as always, thank you so much for being here with us and for taking the time to do so.
It's a pleasure talking with you, Al-Fadi. It's always great. And I will jump straight into it, continuing what we talked about last episode, which is that all Quran translations are actually full of the sin standard Islamic narrative. So they divert and they go away from language and they stick to the sin, which has nothing to do with language. It only has to do with traditions that later developed after the Abbasid reign. Now, as you can see in this example, example 9, it says, وَلَقَدْ نَصَرَكُمَ اللَّهُ بِبَدْرٍ. بِبَدْرٍ, just one word. Now, what do these people have in the translations? At the Battle of Badr, they add the word battle. What do you think of this, Al-Fadi?
I mean, well, let me say this. The Arabic word for that would have been غزوة Badr, if we want to use a literal translation like this one saying the Battle of Badr. Now, of course, I know why they're saying this, because you and I know that the claim, according to the standard Islamic narrative, that the first basically battle between Muhammad and the pagan Arabs was the Battle of Badr.
Yeah, but this has two problems. One is the word bih. In English, it would be by, not at the Battle of Badr or in. Plus, we do not have the word battle.
Exactly. I mean,
Unapologetically,
what you're saying
yeah,
is the Arabic should have said fi Badr rather than bi Badr.
exactly. So, unapologetically, adding the word battle to Badr is a classic example of Quran mistranslation. Why do they do that? Because they assume that Badr is a battle, when in reality, Badr is a certain time of the year. This is not a place, this is a time. And I got this from the Arabic dictionary. It's a certain phase of the moon. Now, the sin standard Islamic narrative makes them too narcissistic to see this truth. The correct word, the exact word, of course, is in my translation.
Which
So
is,
here,
could you share with us?
yeah, this would be the 14th night of the full moon. You know, Badr,
That's right.
it's a phase of the moon. You know this in Arabic.
Absolutely. And of course, I want to add, if we want to use the standard Islamic narrative, then according to standard Islamic narrative, when Muhammad migrated to Medina, there was this group of Arabs singing Tala al Badru alayna, meaning the moon has just appeared, of course, in reference to Muhammad. So when does that happen? When it's full moon.
Exactly. Now here we have adding insult to injury. As you can see here, it says in the Arabic, يوم التقى الجمعان. I ask you, what is this in English?
Well, according to what I'm seeing here, it's talking about, again, looks like it's a battle between two groups. That's what the English is trying to say.
Yeah, so it's the day when two groups encountered one another. That's what it's saying.
Right.
They take it a step further and shove the word Badr in other contexts where it does not belong. So as you can see here, Badr
Right.
in the clear Quran, Sahih International, Hilali and Khan, Battle of Badr. Why? Because the Sin Standard Islamic Narrative says so, but the
Exactly.
Arabic Quran doesn't say so.
Exactly. And Saint Murad, I've always said this to our Muslim friends. You follow a man made religion at all levels. And this is just a classic example of that. Who inserted the word better? A human being, just like you and I, decided that that word belongs there.
Exactly. So here I will give you, as we say in Arabic, أزيدك من الشعر بيت, meaning I will give you another more verse of poetry. It says here, as you can see, do you see the word Badr or
Of
Uhud
course not.
here in the Arabic?
Nowhere in Arabic.
Then what about this? Uhud and Badr. Two battles appear out of nowhere here in the clear Quran, Mustafa Khattab, and Sahih International. So this is fraud. So I will just ask you, what do you think so far? Because all of this is one example that has to do with Badr. They turned it into a battle and then they shoved it in a lot of other contexts where it does not exist.
Right. And here's what's so interesting, by the way. I want to just throw this out there. So this verse, in at face value, it's talking about when you go through troubles, okay? And the word musiba really means like deep trouble, technically speaking, okay? Now, when the translators are inserting the word for a battle, a specific historical battle according to the standard Islamic narrative, when I say historical, okay? How can you, as a follower of Islam, apply this particular verse to your own life if you're going through trouble when somebody's telling you this has nothing to do with your emotions or your own personal situation? It has to do with a specific battle. You see what I mean? It can have a theological implication as well.
Exactly, but followers of Sunni Islam, and also Shia, by the way, Shia, they shove their own sin. They have another sin, which is the Shia Islamic narrative. They
That's
do
right.
not care about language and they do not care about Quranic context. This is the reality of the situation.
Right.
Now we will move to another ugly example of sin based translation, and it's about the word Anfal. As you can see here, يسألونك عن الأنفال. What do you think Al-Anfal means, just at face value?
Well, I mean, the way here is my own understanding of it based on a standard Islamic narrative has to do with the spoils, of course, and spoils of war. And there is a whole chapter that deals with that, obviously.
Yeah. So it says here, regarding the spoils of war, forget that they add, O Prophet, O Muhammad. Now
Right.
we are immune to that. We know that.
Right.
But what if I tell you that this same word is mentioned in another context in the Quran and that these people, they didn't do their homework? It says here, وَمِنَ اللَّيْلِ فَتَهَجَّدَ بِهِ نَافِلَةً لَكَ. So it says here nafila, and all of a sudden it's additional prayer. So this is the very root of the word, adding or something extra.
So let me let me
So
let
not
me
spoils
act
of
as
war.
if I am here the devil's advocate. What if someone
Yeah.
came back and say, "Well, the context is important, and you just said it's adding, and the spoils meaning you've added more to your wealth." How would you respond to that?
I would say no problem, but don't add another layer. Just say something additional. Just
Right.
say that. Don't say it's necessarily spoils of war. This is not right.
That's right. I mean, it could be from other sources, technically speaking.
Exactly, and it could be like when we say in Arabic, in English would be leftovers of food. If
Right.
I take the leftovers from food, this is not as problematic as trying to steal something that's not mine. It
Right.
gives you a different impression. See?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So here again it says, وَهَبْنَ لَهُ إِسْحَاقُ وَيَعْقُوبَ نَافِلَةً. We gave him Isaac and Jacob in addition, not as a spoils of war.
That's
This
right.
is the same word.
That's right.
Now, an Islamic objection, because I had this planned out, Islamic propagandists will not like my translation of the word Anfal, even though it's based on linguistics and not on the sin, standard narrative. Their objection would be that Anfal is different than Nawafil. But this is simply false, as the difference is just that one is masculine and one is feminine. They are just so used to it sounding different to them as they have been conditioned by years of the sin standard Islamic narrative.
That's right.
Also,
Exactly.
even something as bad as the Arabic Wikipedia, which is horrible, it knows that nafila and nafil are one and the same, as you can see here. النافلة أو النفل والجمع نوافل وهي في اللغة بمعنى الزيادة, meaning in English it just means something extra, something additional.
That's right.
So before moving to the next example, we will just wrap up with this one because this is big and I want to know what you think of it, nafila and anfal, and I want to know what the people think of it.
Well, I mean,
in the
here
comments.
is what I'm trying to say to our viewers. You see what's going on here. There are people, and I'm sorry to go into the direction of jihad, by the way. There are people that are willing to go and fight and allegedly die because they believe in instructions like this, and they take the word to mean the spoils of war rather than just to apply to everyday thing that people could have added to their wealth. Maybe they've taken leftovers and things of that nature. You can see the implications here, folks. It can really make you, if someone who is zealot to the point of willing to go and join a group to fight for a cause, these are the kind of verses that you are going to rely on to support that. And yet, at face value, it doesn't necessarily mean what they might be thinking it mean. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, exactly. So this entire thing, it comes from the standard Islamic narrative. So it's just not that they shoved that the word nafila means spoils of war. They also added, O Prophet, when in reality, when the Quran says say, it's just simply speaking to the reader. Say, O reader, who is actually reading this text. But of course, they have to put Muhammad in there, or else the sin will fall.
That's right. Well, thank you so much, Saint Murad, and everyone. I hope you're enjoying these multiple examples that we've been sharing with you, and I know there is more to come. So stay put until next episode, folks, and make sure you take notes of these verses, and hopefully you can even download, of course, these videos, but most importantly, maybe even you can go to Saint Murad's site, and you'll be able to even purchase the book and his own translation. Until next episode, have a blessed day. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment. And ring the bell so you will be notified when we release new content. Our mission is to reach Muslims with the gospel of Jesus Christ and help Christians engage with their Muslim neighbors. If you want to join us in this life-changing work, please support us on patreon.com/CIRA International, or just click on the link below.